Chapter 1. The Days Before the Fall. Daniel had always hated rainy nights, not because of the cold or the wet or the way the streets flooded like veins opening across the city, but because rain made silence louder, and silence was the one thing he and Claire could no longer afford. The storm came in waves, pounding the roof like a second heartbeat above them. Inside their cramped two-room apartment, the air felt swollen, thick with the kind of tension that doesn't start with a fight, but ends with one. Cracks. "Where's the money, Daniel?" Claire's voice was steady, but her hands weren't. They were clenched into fists so tight her knuckles turned white. Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, facing away. His shirt clung to his back, damp from sweat. Not from fear, but from guilt. Or maybe exhaustion. "I needed it," he said. "For what?" she spat. "Beer. Cards. That pathetic game you think you're winning." He didn't answer. Outside, thunder rolled in like an accusation. It hadn't always been like this. They used to be something close to happy. Daniel once fixed motorcycles in a garage where he knew every engine like a friend. Claire worked nights at a bookstore that smelled like cinnamon and old paper. They paid rent, ate cheap sushi on weekends, laughed in line at the laundromat. Then the garage closed. Then the bills came. Then Daniel changed. 2 pressure points. They argued nearly every night now, but tonight something felt different. There was no shouting, no breaking glass, only a low, steady burn, like a fuse finding its flame. "I pawned the watch," Daniel admitted. Claire's breath caught. "Your father's watch?" He nodded, couldn't look her in the eye. That watch had survived a war, a hospital fire, and 2 generations of fathers who refused to cry. It hadn't survived Daniel. She turned away. 3. The last door. By midnight, he was gone. No door slam, no text, just his coat missing from the wall and the front door left ajar, like it had watched him leave and wasn't sure whether to stop him. Claire waited till morning before calling anyone. She told herself he was cooling off, walking, sleeping at a friend's, sleeping it off. The call came at 6:17 a.m. A jogger found a body under the Westwood Bridge, soaked, face down, wallet still in the pocket, ID inside, Daniel, the verdict. The coroner marked it probable suicide. Police found no signs of foul play, no witnesses, no struggle, just a man with debt, no job, and a long history of drinking. And the kicker, 2 days before his death, a local woman accused Daniel of sexual assault. Claire hadn't known. The girl was a bartender, young, scared, sure it was him. That was enough. The public wrote him off as a coward, a predator, a husband who hit his wife, drank too much, and jumped to escape his mess. Only Claire didn't believe it. Not all of it. Not the assault. Not the leap. 5. The details that don't add up. She returned to the bridge 2 weeks later. The railing where he'd supposedly jumped was rusted, but intact. There was a surveillance camera, but the footage from that night was incomplete. A glitch. One of Daniel's shoes was recovered. It was placed near the ledge, facing the wrong direction. Claire also found his phone, dead battery. When she charged it days later, there was a draft text never sent. "Don't believe what they say. I didn't touch her. I swear to God. I'm sorry for everything, but not this. Never this." The world had already moved on. A body in the water, a scandal, a tragedy, a lesson. But Claire wasn't ready to forget, because something, somewhere deep inside, still whispered he didn't jump. Chapter 2. When the Dead Still Remember. Claire had stopped dreaming about Daniel. Now she dreamed as him. In the weeks after his funeral, her sleep grew thin and strange. Not nightmares, not exactly. More like fragments of boots hitting wet pavement, of cheap whiskey and louder thoughts, of a face in the mirror that wasn't hers, but looked back like it knew she was watching. One, the return. It started on the first anniversary. She visited the bridge. Not with flowers, not with prayers, just silence. The river below was quiet. Claire leaned on the railing, cold steel humming against her skin. She closed her eyes. That's when she felt it. Not wind, not rain, but breath, warm and close, on the back of her neck. And a voice, not out loud, but somewhere deeper. You came back. Claire turned. No one. But the silence after the whisper felt like it was watching her. That night, the lights in her apartment flickered at 2:46 a.m., the exact time the death certificate said Daniel died. The hallway mirror fogged. She hadn't taken a shower. She hadn't breathed near it. And on the glass, drawn in streaks from an invisible finger, check her story. 2. The girl who pointed. First, Daniel's accuser was a 22-year-old bartender named Alina Kessler. Said he followed her to the alley behind the club. Said he grabbed her. Said he whispered things no one else could hear. There was no footage, no witnesses. Just a scared girl and a town that hated Daniel enough to believe it without pause. But Claire had to know. She found Alina's address through old bar listings. The girl had moved. Claire drove 2 hours out of town to find her new apartment. She didn't knock. She waited. And when Alina came home, Claire stood in the hall. "I'm not here to fight," Claire said. "I just need to know the truth, because I see him every night, and he's still afraid." Alina stared at her. Her eyes twitched, and then tears, not from sadness, but from something breaking open. "It wasn't him," she whispered. "I thought it was. I really did. He looked like the guy. Same building, same jacket, same smell of cigarettes. I told the cops I wasn't sure, just that he looked close. But then they showed me his photo and said, 'He's already got a record, he's got motive.' And she covered her face. I just wanted someone to believe me." Claire didn't yell, didn't blame her. The silence between them was heavy, but this time it wasn't empty. It was truth-shaped. 3. The one who watched back at home. Claire dug deeper. One of Daniel's friends, Eli, used to crash at their apartment on weekends. She remembered he'd always seemed nervous. One of those men who laughed too loud when something wasn't funny. Claire messaged him. "I know you were there that night." He replied instantly. "What are you talking about?" She sent no more texts. She went to see him. Eli lived in a half-rotted trailer park, 3 counties out. He didn't open the door when she knocked, so she waited. Again, until the porch light flickered, and the door creaked open without anyone touching it. Claire stepped inside. The air smelled like mold and guilt. In the living room, the mirror over the fireplace was shattered, yet still reflecting. And in it, behind her, a figure stood, Daniel. Not bloody, not pale, just quiet, sad, real. Eli stood across the room, trembling. "He told me not to say anything," Eli blurted. "Who?" "That guy, Richie. He was there. I saw him push Daniel. He was yelling about the girl. Said Daniel was gonna take the fall. Then he shoved him. He didn't jump." Claire stared at him. "Then why didn't you say anything?" "Because Daniel was already dead. And I thought, maybe he deserved it." Daniel didn't speak. He just faded. 4. The memory bridge. Claire went back to the bridge. This time she didn't bring candles. She brought Daniel's old jacket. She stood in the same place he had, where the shoe was found. She didn't speak. She just closed her eyes and waited. The rain came again, soft, steady, and so did he, not as a ghost, but as a memory, blooming. He stood beside her. She didn't open her eyes. She didn't have to. His voice came steady. "You believed in me, even when I didn't." Claire swallowed tears. "They believed the worst. I started to believe it too." "So did I," Lorraine whispered like applause. "Are you ready?" he asked. "To let go?" she said. He nodded. "Then yes." She opened her eyes. The bridge was empty. Only the jacket remained, folded, dry, still warm. 5. The last message. A week later, Richie was arrested. Not for Daniel, not yet, but for assaulting another woman. Alina came forward. Eli testified. The case was reopened. Claire didn't attend the hearing. She didn't need to. She had the truth. And she had peace. That night, at 2:46 a.m., the lights flickered one last time. And on the mirror, a new message appeared, written clearly, cleanly. "Thank you for remembering me."